Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Enemies Campfire Season 4 Dead of Winter. We are here on Cold Tower 2, playing some Bubba. This is Voidheart versus Arcadia. For the side of Arcadia, we have Rhymes. For the side of Voidheart, we have Rhymes. For the side of Arcadia, my bad, we have Rhyme, Mirtex, Karma, and Bue. Probably butchering that name. I heavily apologize if I am, but that's an immediate stun on to Rhymes here. So great stuff from Bue. Heading over to the main building. We're not interested in continuing that chaser. Instead, just going to continue patrolling our generators here. We have a very good 3-gen here on the bottom side of the map, so we definitely want to try to protect this. It looks like a bit of a 4-gen, actually, if we can turn it into that. Maybe not. Maybe Cannibal can't quite turn it into a 4-gen, but still a very, very strong gen spread for our killer here. And we are seeing Mirtex now taking chase over at the main building. Will make this filler pallet, will drop it instantly, so that's another resource depleted. But Mirtex will not be going down and will instead be able to make this filler pallet over in the middle side of the map here. It's another stun. Very good stuff from Mirtex here. Kicking the pallet instantly. Rhyme and Karma both on a generator off in the distance. Bue, not sure what Bue is doing. Bue is also on a generator, so we are seeing there's like a 3-gen split here. Mirtex wants to stealth back on this generator. Rhyme wants to try to find a generator to get on for themselves. Rhymes is going to keep patrolling these generators, keep trying to make sure that we do not get enough progress on these generators where we're breaking this 3-gen. And I think Team Arcadia is aware of the potential danger that these gen spreads can actually hold. So we're gonna try to survive as long as possible. Important that we do not die in this 3-gen split, just because, like, Bubba, one of the better campers in the game, probably, I don't know if the best camper, but definitely, you know, maybe actually, yeah, the best camper besides maybe Hillbilly. And we want to see if we can get a quick down here onto Mirtex. Not quite able to do it. Gen gonna pop in the distance very, very shortly for their troubles as well. Mirtex now wanting to head over to this filler tile here, playing it very effectively, making this filler now. Bue about to pop another generator. We need to play this very effectively, but we are actually dropping this pallet. Stun onto Rhymes here. Another gen popping off in the distance. And remember, Bubba is a bit of a weaker killer, right? So we're not expecting crazy high results or 3 generators popping. This 3-gen, however, is still active over on this side of the map, and resources on this side of the map are slowly getting depleted. So there is still something here to maybe be proud of for Rhymes here. Mirtex, Rhyme, and Karma now taking chase over at the shack side of the map. Rhymes wants to go ahead and bamboozle this shack to prevent it from being looped any further. Let's talk about builds here, shall we? We have Pain Res, Eruption, Corrupt, Intervention, and Bamboozle. Bamboozle being your chase perk on Bubba. Very, very strong. One of his, if not his strongest chase perk. Just being able to shut down loops and confirm it down. Another pallet depleted here. And we're continuing chase on to Mirtex here. No, instead we're actually going to go ahead, flip over to Rhyme, who is running over to another filler over here. This still resources on this side of the map that you have to worry about on Rhymes' part here. So maybe you want to be a bit more aggressive in the chase here, trying to deplete these chases, or deplete these resources. But Karma now taking chase over at Shack here. Does he actually have anything that he's going to be able to make? He does have this filler. Does he actually make it? It looks like he just about will. Good stuff there from Karma. We're continuing our patrol here of this 3-gen split. Very strong 3-gen split. We need to make sure it does not break by any stretch of the word here. That generator off in the distance could prove difficulty for our survivors here if they're not already doing it. Doesn't look like they're actually interested in continuing it here, but we might see them decide to instead go for the aggressive play on this 3-gen. Just try to get rid of it as much as we possibly can before actually popping that gen off in the distance, because it would mean that Rhymes' days would be numbered. Karma going ahead and actually working the generator off in the distance there, so that does prove that we are interested in popping that generator. Perhaps we might actually see them play into the 3-gen a little bit, and, you know, decide to just take their chances with that, which is honestly not a bad decision against the Cannibal. You do have to be careful. Again, dying inside of this 3-gen will be devastating. So you do need to really, really watch out for that. Karma about to pop this generator. In the distance here, we are seeing Mirtex and Bue running away from this side of the map here. Now you need to commit for something here. Getting a little bit scary. And we are seeing scratch marks. This is Rhyme. Rhyme, however, not interested in continuing the chase. We are seeing scratch marks going off over to Shaq, kicking this gen for Eruption. And you need to commit for something. But instead, we are continuing to patrol this region. The resources on this side of the map are getting a little bit worse and worse for our survivors here, so maybe that's exactly what we're playing for. A head-on stun coming in from Bue. So great stuff from the team here. And we're continuing chase on to Rhyme. Mirtex and Karma doubling a generator. Bamboozle over on this tile here. And maybe you can get this down. One charge remaining. It's going to be close, but not quite, as Rhyme is now able to make it to this filler. Rhymes has no choice but to leave. And that gen being doubled over at Shaq is about to pop. The question is, will Rhymes be able to make it there in time before it pops? The answer is just about yes. We're not interested in giving him more stages than is ever necessary here. Instead of committing for that double, we are instead going to go ahead and leave. So, Bue continuing to work a generator off. And this is Mirtex getting back on Shaq here. You need this down in the next 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And it looks like we're 99ing the gen. And there it is. The gen has popped. No stages on the board just yet, but we're continuing chase onto Karma. We might see a down onto Karma in the next couple of seconds here. Bamboozling this tile. Revving up, being very careful of head-on. You do suspect it here, and it was, in fact, head-on. We do hear Bue getting out of that locker here, and that is going to be a down onto Karma, so very good stuff. And a flashbang save coming in! Amazing stuff from Bue there. Great teamwork. The question is, will the survivors all be able to get out of the gate? A rev of the chainsaw needs to happen, needs to land true. We have 2 charges. 1 charge remaining, and then a heal tech is going to come through as well. That is all the survivors out of the gate here. A 0-stage result here for Team Arcadia. Great stuff from the survivor side here. Amazingly well played, and we'll see when we come back if the Voidheart survivors can match it. Stay tuned. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to set number 2, or I'm sorry, no, game number 2 of set number 1. This is the Cannibal back on the Cold Tower 2 here, Mirtex, this time playing for Team Arcadia. Danny Dorito, Broccoli, Cat, and Fox Fibs here for Team Voidheart. And we're taking chase instantly over to this filler palette here. Broccoli gonna loop it effectively as we possibly can. We're trying to mind game it as effectively as we possibly can as well, but it doesn't look like it's gonna quite work on Broccoli. Here comes some mind games over at this filler palette. We're trying to get the down, but not gonna quite land true. Dropping the palette. Broccoli living to see a bit of another day. Cat and Daddy Dorito working 2 different gens off in the distance here. Broccoli looping this pretty damn well here, and is going to actually even make this palette yet again here, but might want to force the M1. Yeah, forcing the M1. So that is actually a very good thing for Broccoli, assuming that Mirtex continues to chase. And it looks like we actually are interested in continuing the chase here, heading to the main building. Very, very strong loop here. We may want to get rid of this door here. No, we're not going to get rid of this door. Mirtex going for the M1. Not going to quite land true, unfortunately. Bamboozle on the main building here. And Broccoli continuing to loop this, but I don't know if he realizes that Bamboozle is a thing to worry about. Ooh, it looks like he might make this window. So actually, never mind. Broccoli, very good pathing there. So great stuff here. Able to make now this window. Good stuff. Lasting a little bit longer. Bamboozle now going to come true and shut down this chase, though. Very decent first chase for Voidheart. However, unfortunately, this set is already going to Arcadia. A Pain Resonance going to come through as well. Survivors have dodged the Pain Resonance very, very effectively here. Here is Cat now looping this eye filler. The question is, does she make this pallet? She does make the pallet. Very, very good stuff from Cat. Dropping the pallet as well. Going to be able to make Shat kicking the gen here. We have a hook inside of a pretty good gen spread here. Cat now making it over to yet another tile. And it looks like Mirtex is not interested in tunneling, and there really is no need to, since we already have the win condition. Arcadia has taken the set, but we are now playing for the best result possible. A pickup on to Cat will result in another Pain Resonance coming through. The question is, do we actually make this Pain Resonance, or do we settle for this hook? It looks like we might settle for this hook here. We are going for it, though. Nah, we decide that we can't actually make it. And I think maybe Mirtex also noticing that the 2 gens have popped in the distance, going for a Pain Resonance would be a little pointless, other than to Pain Resonance the hook that he just went by. So, or the gen that he just went by. So, probably the smarter play, not only to go for the hook that he knew he couldn't reach, but to just, you know, save the Pain Resonance for later. We're now taking chase onto Fox Fibs here. Fox Fibs looping this bottom side of the map here. I don't think Fox makes anything, unfortunately. I think Fox will just be going down. A stun through the pallet as well. Very unfortunate stuff from Fox. Mirtex going to be happy about that, though, taking his prize, heading over to the Pain Resonance hooks over on the middle side of the map here. Maybe the left side, actually. Yeah, we're going over to this left side Pain Resonance. A hit would actually maybe result in Fox getting out of this hook for free, but the gen does pop in the distance, so very good stuff here from Voidheart. 3 stages on the board. And there is Broccoli. Broccoli now going to have to be very, very careful here. Injured party is not what you want to see. However, we are looping now the main building. We have this pallet to drop if we so choose, but it looks like we're actually choosing not to. Very, very smart stuff from Broccoli, knowing that we still have that window in the main building, knowing that we can preserve this tile just a little bit longer and loop what we have. So we're actually going to be leaving here, and there is Fox Fibs. And Fox Fibs will simply be going down. Going for some sort of flashy play here. There is Danny. However, it looks like we're actually going to be hooking over on this top side of the map here, this tile. Danny now working a gen off in the distance. Broccoli and Cat might want to play for a bit of a reset here, especially if they're going to go for this unhook onto Fox here. Breaking the main building, and there is Broccoli. Broccoli now taking chase over on this top side of the map, but we're actually choosing to leave here. We might suspect Cat is in here. I think maybe Mirtex suspected that maybe a reset play was happening in this main building, so looking for Cat, but didn't quite actually happen. Definitely wouldn't blame Mirtex for thinking that that was the case. Broccoli now heading over to this filler tile. Swinging through the pallet, maybe trying to outplay Broccoli a little bit there, but not going to quite happen. Broccoli reacting very, very well there. Needs to now win this pallet. 50 and, oh, barely doesn't. Good stuff from Mirtex here. Very unfortunate for Broccoli, but still very, very well done from Broccoli as well to try to anticipate that. Heading back over to this hook. It looks like we might just see a camp to death. A pop in the distance, however. And Cat is going to be... Look, be stealthing for this unhook. No, it looks like Danny's already here. I think, yeah, we're going to be seeing maybe a double save play here. Yeah, we're picking up Broccoli. Fox will simply be dying. And that is a death at 1 gen remaining. Danny now working a gen off in the distance. Broccoli and Cat need to be very, very careful. Still injured parties here. We might see them resetting here, or maybe they're choosing not to. Even if I wouldn't blame them for necessarily choosing not to. Iron Will, a very strong perk and proven so just now. As we are not going to find Cat on that hill, but we will be seeing Broccoli taking chase over at Shack. We still have the Shack pallet to be able to play, so very, very good stuff. Swinging through the window. Maybe we hit it, but we're not going to quite hit it. Broccoli looping Shack quite effectively. We're trying to mind game Shack a little bit, and it doesn't look like we're able to do so just yet. Swinging through the window here is Mirtex. Not going to quite happen, though. Bamboozling the Shack. It will now force Broccoli to actually force the pallet, but it doesn't look like we'll be able to because of Bamboozle plus the Bloodlust here. We're actually going to get it down on Broccoli before he's able to make the pallet. And that is not a Pain Resonance. You remember, Cat was the one that was hooked. Or was not hooked on the Pain Resonance. Broccoli, however, was. Danny working the main building here. They're actually doubling it, choosing to instead go for the best result possible. Heading into the main building here, we might see, this is actually going to be quite down to the wire. Will they be able to make it? 1 down, 2 down, and not quite. The final gen will barely not be popping. Very good try from Voidheart. Mirtex just getting there in the nick of time to stop it from popping. That is a 4K with 1 generator remaining coming in for Arcadia. A very, very good result here on the Cannibal. A very respectable effort from Voidheart. Definitely commend their ability to prolong the trial for as long as possible and get as many gens done as possible, especially with the toughest of conditions here. That is A-okay, though. They did absolutely their best, and we will see how both teams can match up on the Krasue on the Cold Tower 1. Stay tuned for that. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Here, this time on the Cold Tower 1, playing some Krasue here. Heading down the middle of the map, trying to see if we can find a very early chase here. Reminder, this is Arcadia versus Voidheart here. For the side of Voidheart, Cat, Foxfibs, Broccoli, and Danny, same survivor rosters last time. This time playing for the killer side of Arcadia, Karma. Trying to get an infection. Not quite able to do it here. We will actually get the infection onto Cat now. Now taking chase onto Cat, trying to get a tag. We will actually get it done very effectively here. The question is, will Cat be able to make this pallet? Cat will make the pallet. So very, very good stuff here. Needs to win this pallet 50, but unfortunately against the Krasue, going to be very, very difficult. Not going to quite happen. And we do actually see Foxfibs on this totem. We want to just chase Foxfibs off the totem here. Not interested in committing for it or anything. We're seeing a totem build. It is going to be Pain Resonance, Throw of the Hunt, Ruin, and I believe that's Crowd Control. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that's Crowd Control. Very strong perk on the Krasue here. Heading over to the shack. Now, we are able to get the infection onto Foxfibs here. Heading back over for the tunnel out here. Now, the Krasue is a very strong killer that requires a lot of heavy team coordination. Used to be a lot stronger than people gave it, or, well, people gave it credit for being a lot stronger than it actually is. It's just the fact that, like, it's a heavy coordination needing killer, right? So if you are not heavily coordinated on the team side, you are going to find yourself in very rough situations against the Krasue here, as Cat has demonstrated. Another death onto Cat. We still have Pain Resonance as well that we can take, and we will be doing so. There's going to be Pain Resonance on Danny's hook here. Narrowly avoiding the Pain Resonance is Fox and Broccoli. Another totem here on this top side of the map. We are seeing Broccoli here wanting to maybe go for an infection play. Not going to quite happen here. Now chasing Broccoli. And that is going to be an infection on to Broccoli. Karma transforming back into head form. A tag on to Broccoli. Taking the infection off. We will be able to do it. And we are now going for the tunnel here. There is Foxfibs now taking chase over at the main building, but we're not interested in Foxfibs. We're interested in Cat, who is our tunnel out survivor. However, Cat is not infected, so we will need to transform back into human form here, trying to get them infected. Cat will now be infected, vaulting the pallet, head form. Now need to win these pallet 50s. The question is, can we actually do it? We will win one, but we will no longer win any. Cat will be going down over on this top side of the map. That is a death at 5 gens remaining. Krasue, very strong killer. Without heavy team coordination, the Krasue is very, very tough to face. The infection not gonna quite land true onto Foxfibs there. We will be able to land it here, though, and probably take a tag for our troubles. Yeah, we will take a tag for our troubles as well. Now we're continuing chase onto Foxfibs. A Gen Pox in the distance here. Filler pallet to play. Needs to win these 50s, and will actually do so. Very good stuff here from Karma. Picking up Fox. And a Pain Resonance we see over in the corner there. And we are actually seeing, I believe, someone over... Is that... Did I see that too, or is it... Yeah, that is going to be Danny here. Danny was hovering this chase, and that's going to be an infection immediately onto Danny, transforming back into head form, and that's going to be an immediate tag onto Danny as well. Continuing chase. And Danny will be going down, and we see scratch marks again, and birds. Broccoli is around here. Broccoli actually gets the unhook. Never mind. So we might have actually stealthed the rest of the way over for that unhook. I did not see scratch marks, but there is Broccoli. Now we need to transform back into human form. Try to get this down as quickly as possible here. Infection coming through. Not going to quite land true, though, so we are going to instead keep going for it. The lethality of the Krasue comes when you are infected. Maybe go for a mind game play here. And it looks like Broccoli's actually going to take his distance. So very good stuff from Broccoli to actually do so. Not going to quite get an infection either. Danny's still slugged on the ground. And we're now picking up Danny. No pallet save coming through, unfortunately. It's going to be a Pain Resonance on the bottom side of the map here. Still 4 gens remaining. A gen being worked off in the distance. Pain Resonance coming through onto Fox, and we're going to continue chase onto Fox as well. An Infection coming through. Will it land through? Not quite. Still no Infection, unfortunately. A God Rock here to play, though. Not really a God Rock. It's more of a God filler, a Rock filler. But Infection finally onto Fox Fibs. And that will be a down onto Fox Fibs. So great stuff coming in from Karma. We have a Pain Resonance here for Fox, I believe. So we will be taking that. I don't know if they have any progress coming in on any generators, though. So just be careful about that. No progress to speak of. So that's going to be a retransformation back into human form. And we're going to try to land an Infection. But there is Broccoli was trying to go for a bit of a jiggy play here. Maybe the comm was that he's committing to me, but looks like Karma has successfully circumnavigated that. We're heading back over to the hook, maybe to prevent the unhook from happening, and it is actually going to happen here. We're not going to be able to get the unhook. Danny being found here will result in a 4K with 4 gens remaining. There are scratch marks. That all but pretty much solidifies the 4K with 4 gens remaining. An Infection on to Danny. The question is, are we long for this world? It doesn't look like it. That is a 4K. 4 Team Arcadia. Very strong stuff coming in from the killer side here. A very commendable effort from the survivor side as well. The Krasue is a very, very tough killer in the competitive setting because it is one of those killers that requires heavy team coordination. And there it is. When we come back, we will see if Voidheart can match that kind of a score. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final match of Voidheart versus Arcadia. For the side of Voidheart, Rhymes playing the Krasue here. Bue, Karma, Rhyme, and Winner Edit for the side of Arcadia. I just realized Rhyme and Rhymes have similar names. I don't know how I didn't pick up on that from the last set, but an immediate chase onto Karma. Coming through on the bottom side of the map here. We're transforming into head form. Can we land a hit here? We will be able to. Very good stuff from Rhymes here. Actually landing a very good mind game onto Karma. Can be the head form transformation can be a little bit deceptive there, so using that to our advantage is excellent. Gonna try to mind game the shack here. Tries to hit through the window, transforming back into head form here. We will be able to make the shack, however. Vault. No, instead we're actually going to go ahead and take the break. So, very good stuff from Rhymes, knowing that this is actually going to be very impossible for the Krasue to play on shack. Once the pallet is dropped, it's impossible for Krasue's head form to really play against, unless Bamboozle is a perk or is Disillusion. So, knowing that is very good. Here comes Winner Edit to take a hit for Karma. Karma fully infected now. And we will be seeing a down onto Karma, and these two gens popping off in the distance signifies Arcadia has taken the set. So we are now playing for style points still, though. This is a very good first down for Rhymes here. About maybe a little bit slower, but still very good for what you'd expect on the Krasue here. Especially considering everything. We do have a bit of a good Shen split down here. We might want to protect it a little bit, but we are seeing Rhyme off in the distance now running away. We want to head back over to the unhook here. Maybe we are now trying to go for a bit of a body block play. We're going to try to tunnel out Karma, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like we're actually going to be tunneling out Karma. Very, very smart decision. Karma being very effective in their pathing, though. Vaulting this window, maybe trying to go for a bit of a mind game. Not going to quite land true, and that's going to be a stun onto Rhymes as well, as Karma is going to live to see a little bit longer here. Wanting to head back over to the seawall here. Getting an infection would be great, but we're not going to quite land true here. Dropping this pallet here, trying to mind game it a little bit. Vaulting it again. Breaking the pallet. And can we actually land true with an infection? Not quite, and we see Bue here. Maybe ready to take a hit or something. Karma very effectively looping this. Tile with pretty much nothing anymore. We have this pallet, right, still? We do. So very good stuff there from Karma. Need an infection. Infection will land true. We can now transform back into head form. Headlong flight coming in. Vaulting this main building window. Where is the pallet for main? There it is, and there is Rhyme here to take a hit. Headlong flight coming through again, but Rhyme will not let it happen. Very good stuff there from Team Arcadia. Another head form coming in. This needs to land true, but it's not going to quite land true, and that is all survivors infected. That's going to be essential for Rhymes here. No way out activating. We have the opportunity to get a few more stages on the board. Continuing chase onto Karma in this main building here. Now needs to break this filler pallet. And we're continuing chase on to Karma. You need to go back into head form, maybe. And there's a head-on play coming in as well. Amazing stuff here from Team Arcadia. We're just not able to find this down onto Karma. But you have to imagine it'll come in pretty soon. Not gonna quite land true over this filler pallet here. Looping it some more. And now we want to just kind of keep Karma here. Everyone is injured. No one besides Winner Edit can come in for a hit tank. And in fact, everyone else will just simply have to either leave or take a fungus and wait. Here is winner edit. Transforming back into head form here. Will we be able to make this window? Doesn't look like it. We might have been a bit greedy for that. Not gonna quite land true, though. And do we still have this pallet? No, we don't. It was destroyed earlier on in the trial. Here is Windsor Edit to take a hit. Very effective stuff against the Krasue here. The Krasue taking hits is so effective against the Krasue, more so than I think any other killer in this game. Than maybe Legion. And remember, all the survivors could die here, and Arcadia will still have taken the win. But we're looking for something here. We will find a filler pallet here. And Karma will drop the pallet. Finally, we're infecting Winner Edit. So Winner Edit gradually building infection, but very, very slowly. And that is it. We finally won the 50. Karma is going to go down. And there is Rhyme here. Does Rhyme actually have anything? No, Rhyme is simply going to go down too. And here is Winner Edit coming in to reset Karma here. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, though. Going in to body form to pick up Winner Edit. Maybe going for an infection. Shaking our head, no. Nodding our head, yes. A pain resonance coming through, not that it matters. 2 stages on the board here. And an instant unhook. And it does look like all the survivors are getting out of this gate. We need body blocks of the century, and it just simply will not be happening. 2 stages on the board here. Arcadia taking the victory. A very respectable effort from Voidheart, however. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We have one more match of week 1. It is Izalith versus Ego, the Spirit, and the Unknown coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final game of week 1 here of season 4, Dead of Winter at the Entity's Campfire. We are here on the Suffocation Pit playing some Spirit Izalith versus Ego. Izalith, I think it's Izalith. Valdez on the side of Izalith. Vander, John Arbuckle, Christina, and Dino Melon for Ego here. That is a tag on to Dino Melon. Relatively early on here, a phase coming through here. Needs to drop the seawall. Needs to win this phase 50 here. And will actually barely not. Very good try from Dino Melon to fake out Valdez, but it's not going to quite happen. And a pickup onto Valdez too. Spirit does not, I believe, get Pain Resonance on her set, but she does get Colubrine Eruption, Corrupt Intervention, and Dragon's Grip. Dragon's Grip, very, very strong perk. Not only acts as a lethal perk, as a chase perk, but also acts as a very, very strong regression perk. If people know what they're doing as well. We saw birds here, and Xander, it looks like, is simply going to go down very, very quickly on here. And here is John Arbuckle, needs to get this pickup very, very quickly too. The birds being spotted there was massive, phasing back over to the unhook to try to prevent it. John Arbuckle, however, is not in time. Not going to happen in time, unfortunately. Scratch marks where John Arbuckle was. And we will actually find him. Phasing. Not going to quite land true. John Arbuckle will, however, will take the tag. And the underhook onto Dino Melon will happen, but before a trade can come through as well. I do not believe the survivors. No, we don't get Unbreakable. So that is going to be Lithe onto Dino Melon. We need to last a little bit longer. Phasing. A good try from Dino Melon to try to jiggy his way to a new tile here, but it's not going to quite happen. Valdez taking his prize. And his prize being a second hook stage at 5 gens remaining. This gen is so close to being completed. Christina doing a very decent job here. Do we suspect? Yeah, we know someone's over here as well. Kicking this generator. Colubrine Eruption applied, and so is Dragon's Grip. So this Dragon's Grip going to be very, very strong here. Phasing, trying to maybe find another survivor lurking around here somewhere. Want to leave the area just a little bit as we're lurking around for a survivor here. Dragon's Grip is going to happen, and there is Christina shaking our head yes, because we know that this is going to be a very, very easy down if we can get it. Phasing for the unhook. Dino Melon gets unhooked here. A down onto Christina. A slug probably going to happen here. No, instead we're choosing to pick up Christina and go for another hook here. Interesting decision there. But maybe we actually think that we can get to Dino Melon in time before even a reset can happen or him stealthing away. Want to reapply Colubrine Dragon's Grip to this generator. And now we're looking for another survivor anywhere we can. We want to find Dino Melon. Dino Melon is our ideal chase here. We're not able to find him over. We're just looking around the area. Christina getting unhooked. Seeing if maybe we can find Dino Melon stealthing anywhere. We do not hear him though. So we're going to phase on. Getting back on that generator. Christina does not fear the Dragon's Grip whatsoever. And there is Dino Melon and Xander resetting off in a tile. And that is Dino Melon dead at 5 gens remaining. Very good stuff from Valdez here. Playing into the mistakes of the survivor side very, very well here. Dropping this shot, breaking the pallet, and there is Christina taking chase away from this shot gen. Kicking this gen again. Eruption Colubrine reapplied. We need to try to get this down as quickly as we possibly can here. Vaulting into Valdez's arms. And that is another down. Valdez now lurking for yet another survivor here. We do see another gen being worked off in this distance here. Dragon's Grip Eruption. Well, No, Dragon's Grip was not applied, but Colubrine was. A gen pops in a distance. So the gen progress isn't terrible. It's just a matter of the fact that because we only have 3 survivors remaining, it's going to be very, very difficult for the survivors to pop yet another gen here. We need to try to win this 50. Can we actually make this filler here? We do barely, it looks like, but we're trying to play around it. Christina, unfortunately, is going to be going down. Valdez playing around that very, very well, looking to see the grass moving, looking to see the scratch marks moving, and hearing out the survivors as well. This gen off in the distance, decent progress, kicking it. Dragon's Grip Eruption, Colubrine applied, and now we're going back over to the bottom side of the map, trying to find survivor lurking. This is CT2, or Suffer Pit 2, by the way, not Suffer Pit 1. Suffer Pit 1 would be very difficult for the Spirit, in my opinion, at least. And we are seeing survivors lurking over on the corner side of the map here. Can we actually find a stealther? The scratch marks have ended, so someone started walking. And there are the scratch marks. Yet again. Heading back over to Shack. Vaulting the window is John Arbuckle. I actually didn't see him there. Trying to fake out Valdez we are, but it's not going to quite work out. Valdez seems very, very strong on the Spirit here. Want to try to mind game the Shack best as we possibly can here. John Arbuckle taking his distance, but is unfortunately simply going to be going down. A down onto John Arbuckle. Xander, however, will pop another gen in the distance, so that's 2 gens popped. More points for our survivor side here. Definitely nothing to scoff at. And there is Xander off in the distance, heading over to the main building, accepting his fate. Maybe he was trying to get over to this generator to maybe get some progress on it. Balanced landing coming through. We will be able to make this Philippella, instantly dropping it here. Phasing to try to body block the tile as well as here out where Xander is going. Xander is trying to jiggy his way to a new tile. And that is a 4K with 3 gens remaining for Izalith. Very, very good stuff here from Valdez. And when we come back, can Ego match or even beat this score? We will find out after a short break. Stay tuned. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, with some more Izalith versus Ego. A bit of housekeeping that we have to do here. Ego, you'll notice that our time between the match with Voidheart and Arcadia and Izalith and Ego was a little delayed here. We did have a bit of a delay on the side of Ego here, so that is resulting in a slight penalty to their required score here. So in order for them to win, they have to 4K4. A 4K3 will no longer result in a tie. A win is a 4K4 or a higher. So that is the result we're looking for here. And a very fast down from Dino Melon onto Mega. That was insanely good from Dino Melon. It sounded bad, but, you know, if there's anyone that can meet such a score, it is Dino Melon Spirit. Very, very strong player he is. We are seeing progress on this generator off in the distance from Lebvi. Ruin was cleansed, which is actually a very good find considering Thrill of the Hunt and Crowd Control and Devour Hope are up. But we do have to worry about Devour Hope. So, you know, there's no wonder that we are seeing that Dino Melon is not really tunneling or anything like that, because we're like, or like camping aggressively, because like, again, our win condition is a bit steep here. So we will need very fast downs in order to go from Devour Hope stack to Devour Hope stack to try to meet this 4K4 win condition. That is one gen popped already though, so we're halfway there to our victory for Izalith. And we're heading back over to the main building here. There is another totem, hex totem, over at the main building. Another stack of Devour Hope coming through. Mega in the main building now. Revolting. And that is a very good find from Dino Melon. A very good mind game as well. We tried to make this pallet, but it's not going to quite happen here. And that is going to be another hook for Dino Melon. Albatross continuing to where that generator is, halfway to completion. We have to be very, very careful. We need to go find Albatross and stop this generator from continuing. And we do actually find it. A kick onto this generator. Another Devour Hope stack. The survivors are insta-downable for the people coming in. Oh, that was a very good try from Dino Melon. Lebvi taking their distance to another tile here. Broken. Lebvi injured. Albatross healthy. Mega healthy. We are seeing a chase over on this bottom side of the map. It is Mega. This is actually your ideal chase at this point in the game here. The survivors currently are working a generator off in the distance, and that generator popping does mean the victory for Izalith, thanks to the penalty. Dino Melon, however, seeing a death at 3 gens is an absolutely respectable result. The survivors have realized that Devour Hope is in play, however. And so we'll need to maybe search for it before continuing with their gens. They have taken the set, though, so they can breathe a sigh of relief, relax a little bit. They don't have to pop all the gens anymore. And there is Brokeman taking his distance over to the bottom side of the map, kicking this main generator. We need to get it regressing. Trying to maybe play around this main building. We suspect someone is still here, and we are correct in assuming so. It is Albatross taking chase over at the main building here. Not quite able to fake out Dino Melon. And another gen pops in the distance. Heading over to the shack side of the map, there is Brokeman. Phasing to try to catch off Brokeman here. It will barely not work as a swing through the window will result in a down for Brokeman. Lebvi, final survivor standing, picking up Albatross. 2 survivor protocol on the, or 1 survivor on the ground, 2 survivors standing. We see birds to the right. And an instant drop of this pallet to prolong our life here. Albatross trying to play around this tile as effectively as possible. Tries to maybe go for a bit of a jiggy play here, but Dino not going to make this pallet anyway. Phasing around, trying to fake out Albatross, but Albatross actually doing a very, very good job at dropping the pallet on the actual inside of the tile, faking out Dino Melon. And that is going to be a down. Brokeman and Lebvy both standing. There's Lebvy, there's Brokeman. Brokeman and Shaq. Lebvy taking chase over at this filler tile. Maybe we're more interested in Brokeman, however. We are. We see scratch marks inside of Shaq on the outside. Just on the outside, actually. Phasing to try to catch off Brokeman. But instead we're faking out. Going for Lebvy. Can we make this pallet before? No, we cannot. Brokeman picking up Albatross, though. Survivors are still in this game. Phasing to try to catch off Albatross before we're able to make this pallet. Barely were unable to. Good stuff from Albatross. As we have this filler pallet to play still. Phasing to try to fake out Albatross. Dino does a very effective job at it. Slugging again. Brokeman and Lebvy both still injured. And now we're looking for them here. We don't quite find them anywhere. We have to assume that maybe they're resetting. Albatross gets picked up off the ground. Wow, a totem is cleansed off in the distance. Bird flying back to its perch just over there. Albatross gets reset, so that tells Brokeman exactly what we're doing here. We're swinging through to try to catch off Albatross. Is Devour Hope still a thing to worry about? It is not. We have cleansed Devour Hope. Trying to swing through Shaq to kill Albatross, but it's not going to quite happen as we're dropping the Shaq pallet now. Trying to fake out the Shaq a little bit. Maybe we can find it down onto Albatross very, very quickly here. Albatross running the edge of the map here. Albatross not long for this road. 3, 2, 1, and dead. We are looking for Lebvy and Brokeman now. Another slug play coming in from Dynamo. You have to be careful about the bleed outs, though. You don't have a lot of time. This main building gen, pretty close to being done here. Lebvy finishes the reset in Dino Melon's face. Resilience was definitely a thing happening. Brokeman gets fully picked up from the, gets Albatross picked up from the ground. Lebvy continuing chase over on this filler tile here. Can it be a quick down here? Lebvy doing an amazing job at dodging Dino Melon. We need to win this 50. We're able to do so. Very good stuff from Lebvy, and it will mean we will actually make this filler tile here. Do we actually win this? We do not. Lebvy will be going down. However, Brokeman and Albatross get reset, and I think Dino is going to decide to take his reward. That was a very good slug battle from both teams here. Dino Melon putting up a good fight. Survivors coming out on top, though. And there is Brokeman barely not able to get the full pick onto Lebvy, and it will result in a trade. Albatross, have to assume, working a gen off in the distance. He is, but he has no choice but to go for Brokeman, as Lebvy will be dying fairly soon. Balanced landing coming through. That was a very, very close exchange, having to drop this filler tile here. We are able to make the window of main, phasing to try to catch up to Lebvy. And we will do so. Very good stuff from Dino Melon here. A hook onto Lebvy. 2 Survivor Protocol. You have to be careful about the slug timers of the survivors at this point. Not interested in actually continuing chase over here, as we do see scratch marks in the main building here in Albatross. Albatross was working main building generator very diligently here. Have to assume Brokeman is on a gen of his own here. Yeah, Brokeman is working a gen off in the distance. Meanwhile, Albatross stealthing to try not to get found by Dino Melon, but we will actually get found phasing. And it's not going to quite land true for Dino Melon, as Albatross is now going to be able to make it out of the main building. Brokeman still working that gen off in the distance. Need to win this 50 at the main building. We do actually do it. We're able to make a filler tile here. Vaulting, trying to fake out Dino Melon, but it's not going to quite work out. We're heading back over to the main building. Dino Melon has no interest in continuing that chase, going over for Brokeman. Brokeman now leaving, as Albatross will return to the main building to try to complete it. Brokeman has to last as long as we possibly can here. Maybe that final gen off in main building can pop here. Phasing to try to end this chase quickly as possible. A vault through the pallet will mean a little bit longer. Looks like we've actually lost Brokeman, and I think that losing Brokeman there will mean that that generator off in main will pop. Phase immediately vaulting over that pallet. It's a very good stuff there from Brokeman. Albatross popping the main building gen. Albatross might be heading straight over to the bottom side gen. Yeah, he is. Can Brokeman actually last long enough that we can pop all the generators here? Phasing yet again. Vaulting this window, and it's not going to quite happen. Albatross is going to commit for this generator. The question is there enough time? This is so down to the wire. Phasing to try to stop it. I don't think we're going to make it. We're barely not going to make it. That was so close. Just a little bit longer from Brokeman, and this gen would have popped. That is a 4K with one generator remaining. A down to the wire last-ditch effort from Albatross and Brokeman. Very good to Survivor Protocol. They played it exceptionally well. This set goes, this set, goes to Izalith, and when we come back, we will have the Unknown on the Disturbed ward. A skill shot killer. Very excited for it. And on a map you don't typically see him on. So when we come back, we'll see how that turns out. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Entities Campfire. We are here on the Disturbed Ward, playing some Unknown. Izalith versus Ego. For the side of Ego, Dino Melon. For the side of Izalith, Mega, Lev the Albatross, and Brokeman. Same team as last time, as Brokeman is taking chase over at the main building, trying to land maybe a corner shot onto Brokeman here, but it is 2026. That doesn't happen anymore. And Brokeman is going to continue chase over at this filler tile here, trying to win this seawall here. Can we actually make this window? We actually do. Very good stuff from Brokeman. We need to vault this instantly, try to dodge Dino Melon's shot, but it will result in simply an M1 happening, as we are now continuing chase in the main building. An infection almost lands true onto Brokeman here. Check spotting the shack very effectively here, running through it and out on all, dodging Dino Melon's shot there. Very, very good stuff here. Again, 2025 not gonna work anymore. Unfortunately, we have no choice but to drop the shack pallet at this point, and we're barely dodging that as well. Brokeman doing an exceptional job so far. And it looks like Dino Melon might be leaving Brokeman. Yeah, it looks like we're choosing to go ahead and leave Brokeman and search for a different chase, a more prospective chase. Albatross in this main building, kicking this generator at main here. We're not able to find him though, and Albatross will successfully elude Dino Melon, as Dino Melon is heading over to this very high progress generator that Levy was working. Looking for Levy. The question is, where was Levy? Levy was actually so close, was stealthing behind a rock. And Brokeman now taking chase, but actually leaving as we're now wanting to head back over to this generator. And there is Levy, was working the generator, was stealthing for it, did a very good job, but unfortunately has no choice but to leave. Needs to win a 50-50, but unfortunately, it's just not going to quite happen for Levy. So very, very unfortunate stuff, as Dino Melon wants to try to land a shot onto Levy, and it will happen. So good stuff from Dino. You have Levy in a very good position here to end Levy very, very quickly, and that will be a down. Very good stuff from Dino Melon. Gens being worked. Well, were being worked. We're actually getting rid of a hallucination inside of main building. And we want to head over to Shack because we were having a little bit of progress over here. There is Brokeman, or not Brokeman, Mega taking chase over at Shack. Now, heading over now to this kind of filler area. And it looks like Mega will simply be taking a tag. We want to maybe try to get a skill shot onto Mega here, but it looks like we're just choosing to take our free M1, which is also completely valid. Levy gets unhooked, and we're continuing chase onto Mega. Do we actually? Yeah, it looks like we're wanting to tunnel, so we're heading back over for the unhook to try to catch off Levy, but we cannot. It doesn't seem Levy's around. Yeah, it looks like Levy's not really around. That was such a well-timed sidestep from Albatross. He kind of like fluttered his keyboard a little bit there to dodge that. That was really good. I assume keyboard. He could also be a console player. And we are working this main building. It is very, very close to popping. Mega working a gen over in Shack. This main building generator is so close to popping. We see the pools of blood that Levy had left. And it looks like we're no longer interested in chasing Levy. Instead, we know that Shack was being worked. There is Mega. A good infection onto Mega is going to help immensely for Dino Melon. Eruption now applied to this generator. Need to land true a shot, but it's not going to quite work out for Dino, as we are seeing now a hit tank coming in for Mega. Brokeman taking a hit. And here goes Mega running away over to another high progress generator, honestly. Maybe a bit of a miscomm here happened, but also anything to maybe survive as long as possible would help. But Mega is simply going to go down here. And right by this high progress generator. That's going to be very unfortunate here for Team Izalith here. Teleporting because we do suspect someone here. We were right to suspect. So this is Brokeman. It looks like, no, this is Albatross taking chase over at the main building here. Gonna be able to make this window. And it's gonna loop it quite effectively here. Check spotting very, very well here. Not being faked out whatsoever. Dropping this pallet here is suffering, well, you know, was close to a hallucination. So that's why that kind of thing is happening there. But we're not close to one anymore. So it's very interesting that we're still seeing that. Trying our best to win that 50, or to win that mind game at that pallet is Dino, and it will result in a down here onto Albatross. We have Lebvy stealthing really close by this unhook and doesn't actually spot Albatross, which is absolutely massive. Lebvy can get this unhook at any point. Mega, yeah, we're just gonna get the unhook now. Mega and Brokeman are resetting near Shack. One generator remaining with only 2 hooked on the board here is a little rough. There is Albatross taking chase over at this TNL wall, but unfortunately there was a hallucination just by the TNL wall that I don't think Albatross knew about. And will just simply be going down. Lebvy now taking chase over at this filler, getting the stun onto Dino Melon, breaking the pallet. Now Lebvy wants to be very, very careful not to get shot here, but unfortunately will get infected. We're running in for Dino Melon, maybe trying to go for a flashy safer, but we do need to be careful because if Dino Melon lands a shot, that could mean a down very, very quickly here, as we will be teleporting off. It doesn't look like Dino's interested in actually picking this up, and Albatross will be picked up off the ground with Levy, or by Levy. There is Mega. Mega working a generator off by this filler here that that I've heard be called Little Lightning. Or Big Lightning? I actually don't remember if that's little or big. Anyway, Mega continuing chase over at this seawall filler. We'll have no choice, but oh, I thought he was going to just drop the power. We actually are preserving it quite well, but perhaps a little bit too greedily, as Mega will be going down. And a flashbang save and a tag for Brokeman. That was an interaction that happened. Okay. We are seeing a pain resonance coming through from Mega. And we want to head back over to this corner filler here because we know it was being worked. It's so close to popping. I mean, you have to assume that at some point this gen is going to pop or run out of events or something soon, right? We are taking our distance, kicking the generator. Showing scratch marks a little bit, though. However, Dino just interested in TPing back, maybe going for the tunnel here. And there is Brokeman. Are we interested in going for Brokeman is the question. I think we are. As Brokeman does actually vault that pallet, or vault that tile there. We are continuing chase over at this tile. Oh, a very good shot from Dino Melon. That was very respectable. As Brokeman, our final pain resonance is going to come through. We see the eruption auras of the generators being worked off in the corner. Their Levy still on it. PR actually didn't hit that generator. That means it's out of regression events, I think. It could have also been this that was hit, but something tells me that that gen is out of regression. We'll get proven wrong pretty soon here if Dino decides to go back to that gen. As it looks like Mega is now taking chase. Gonna take the infection. Dropping the filler pallet here. It needs to last a little bit longer here. Are we able to make this window? We're not even going to try it. Gonna then try to play around this tile as Mega will be going down. However, the gen in the distance, the gates are open. Heading over to this gate. We suspect someone opening it, but it's not going to quite be happening. These gates are pretty respectable for Dino Melon. It's going to be about trying to maximize our hook stages from here on out. I don't know if a 4K is on the cards here unless Izalith truly messes up, but I don't know if we're going to be seeing that happening. There is Albatross getting ready to set up at this gate here. We don't mind maybe forcing a chase here just to get the unhook onto Mega as well as, you know, get... Oh, no, but there is Brokeman. Mega going to be getting unhooked, but Brokeman getting picked up off of the hook here. Brokeman now going to be put on a hook. More hook stages for Dynamelon here. We're back on that exit gate. Albatross on this one, Lebby on the other one. Both gates will be opened momentarily. As Albatross gets infected, we cannot go for any other stages here. We have to just camp Brokeman and hope maybe they get a little bit greedy. But we're trying to maximize one more hook stage. Albatross is just there, maybe going for some sort of unhook here. Wants to try to get off his infection before anything, though. There are the other survivors. Mega being infected. Lebby taking a hit. As now, it's going to be really hard to actually get a hit. We tried to maybe get the hit with the wall there to try to get a 2-tap onto Albatross, but it looks like our survivors will simply be escaping. Yes, good body blocks coming in from Team Izalith. That is going to be 4 survivors out the gate. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stages on the board for Ego. When we come back, we will see if Izalith can match that score or do better. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the final round of Izalith versus Eagle here. The entity's campfire. Lebvi for the side of the killer. The side of Izalith. Ego, John Arbuckle, Xander, Dinomelon, and JoJo. Decent survivor roster here. We are getting an infection on to JoJo here. Wants to maybe try to mind game this TNL wall, and will actually do so very, very effectively. JoJo actually not going to get faked out by that at all. JoJo now taking a tag. However, through infection, is this a quick down? JoJo going to actually dodge that infection very effectively here. We are seeing a pallet drop, however, and that will mean JoJo has no choice but to force Locker. And this is a very quick down for Lebvi. Meanwhile, gens being worked in the distance, 3 separate gens as well. So a little bit of good progress here. No double at the beginning, though. So a little concerning for getting these gens done. We might see Lebvi going for a bit of a camp play here. No, it looks like we want to patrol main a little bit. We did set up a hallucination over by the unhook here, so that will allow us to transport back there as quickly as possible if we need to. If any sort of unhook happens, there we go, and there it is. So the unhook does happen relatively quickly here. And we are interested, actually, I think, in going for JoJo. JoJo taking the infection. Yet again, this could be a very, very quick chase here for Lebvi. As it looks like we're trying to fake out this hill a little bit here. Not going to quite work. The question is, can we actually land an infection here onto JoJo? We actually do. And very effectively at that. Xander eating the eruption. A hook onto JoJo. That is our second stage. And now we are heading over to the main building where we see Xander continuing to work. Want to be very, very careful we don't get caught off guard by the unknown here. And there is Dino finding Xander. Or not that. I'm sorry. There is Lebvi finding Xander. It doesn't look like we're actually interested in continuing the chase here. We might just honestly want to keep hovering this unhook. Our winning condition is 6 stages. 6 stages and a death will win. 6 stages on its own will tie. In most cases. I believe in this case, yes. And there is the infection onto JoJo, vaulting this window to try to end this quickly. Not able to body block it effectively at all, but is able to make the window. Another gen popping in the distance. John Arbuckle was trying to maybe go for a hit tank onto JoJo. We are... Oh my goodness! Not only do we find the infection onto Xander, but we also find the infection onto JoJo. Trying to force the pallet drop here. And it just will not work. A gen pops in a distance for it, but that is a death at 2 gens remaining. We're trying maybe to go for a pallet save here. But unfortunately, we're just not quite able to make it happen. And a death at 2 gens remaining. We still need to find 3 more hook stages for the victory. Or is it 4? 4, I believe, because we have 4 separate. It was on 4 separate survivors. We need 7 stages in all, is what I'm saying. Or we need to hook everyone plus 1. We need 7 stages to win. I'm gonna stop overcomplicating this. Because it is really not complicated. And there is Xander. Not going to quite land an infection onto Xander. We wanted to try to maybe go for that for a 2-tap, but it's not going to quite happen here. Now we're getting punished for it. Xander not taking an injury, but will take the reinfections. But Xander's still living to see a little bit longer here. Needs to win this 50-50 at this TNL wall. Will unfortunately not do it. But we're actually winning that. We are playing for this 2-tap as effectively as we possibly can. But I just feel like, yeah, you take the swing here. The injury onto Xander will happen. Dinomelon working a gen off in the distance. John Arbuckle working a gen off in the distance. Xander lasting some time here, but unfortunately we're deciding to leave and go for the gen over at Shaq here, kicking it. And we're just deciding to leave. Applied Eruption. And that will be it. And here is Xander. Now continuing chase over at the seawall. No, instead we're deciding to just move away from it. We do have ourselves a hallucination here. We ran ourselves into it, unfortunately. And unfortunately, Xander will be going down. That is another pain resonance. But the question is, can Dinomelon pop this gen before that happens? This is unironically going to be quite close here. A great skill check will do it. And the question is, will it happen? It will. Just barely were able to pop that generator before the pain resonance can activate. As that means John Arbuckle's gen at Shack will be the one to eat the pain resonance. We're going back over to it, trying to maybe mind game it a little bit. Kicking the generator before we continue chase. And there it is, chase on to John Arbuckle over at the Shack. A good infection coming in from Lebvy. We now need to go ahead, kick this pallet. As we have, unfortunately, there is a hallucination here. Question is, can we dodge this? We can barely, but not before an M1 happens. Unfortunately, it's not the infection hit, so no 2-tapping will occur. John Arbuckle continuing chase over towards this filler. These fillers over here. Pretty strong. We need to try to... Yeah, very good stuff from John Arbuckle, dodging those shots here. Vaulting this window. As we are able to make this filler yet again. Now, here's the thing. Xander and Dino are working a gen off in the distance together. So, unless this down comes in the next, you have to assume, like, 5 seconds. 10 seconds even would be too much. And unfortunately, the down will just not happen. I think this is going to be barely enough time for Xander and Dino to complete the final gen. Yeah, it is. No eruption will be able to happen in time. John Arbuckle is going to take the adrenaline as well. However, our little secret that our survivors don't know about yet, but are about to get a rude awakening for it is no one escapes death. That is right. John Arbuckle on the ground. And now we're going for a slug play. Trying to mind game this filler effectively. And there it is. The NOED has been cleansed. Vaulting these pallet windows very effectively. And we actually win that 50-50. So very good job from Xander as we're lasting just a little bit longer. We needed this down quickly. Dinomelon finds the NOED. So that means Dinomelon can go for the pickup onto Xander and does do so. Xander is doing an incredible job at these fillers. Vaulting over, loses the 50th finally though for Lebvy, and now we need to slug. We have no choice. We need to go and find out where these survivors are. As we see scratch marks off in the distance here, there is John Arbuckle taking the pallet. This is a very effective loop. Are you seeing this connection? Oh my gosh. We need to win a 50 here. Unfortunately, will not be doing so. However, Xander is on the ground near here. John, however, will be picked up by Dinomelon. Not too shortly after. Looping very effectively. Notice how Lebvy is not going for any sort of power play. That's simply because of the NOED. However, we have to remember, NOED is no longer active. Bloodlust 2 coming in. The Bloodlust should help out even just a little bit here. We're trying to win this. We're just not breaking this pallet. All we need is John Arbuckle. But there's the body block from Dinomelon. Bloodlust 3 coming in. However, Xander is not enough. Xander is not enough. We need John Arbuckle. And it's not going to happen. It was not enough at all. Six stages, and I believe because all of the survivors from last round were hooked, and this is only 2, even though it's 2 deaths, I believe Ego has taken it. Incredible stuff down to the wire. You needed John Arbuckle there. Unfortunately, finding Xander simply will not be enough. Very, very respectable stuff from both teams. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming. We will see you next week for more exciting games here at the Entities Campfire Season 4. Stay tuned for that. Goodbye.